Sounds
Go,
good to
go
me.
live when we're supposed to go live for a rare occurrence of actually going live when we're supposed to go live.
Hey, man. Broken clock is right twice a day.
Yeah. It's exactly right. Twice a day. And now the chickens have a swing to swing from.
Yes. I made it. I'm so happy.
Yeah, it's rather kind of funny looking, but it's a chicken swing. It's not funny looking. It looks like an average schoolyard swing, but for chickens. Yes. Next thing.
It took me forever to find your drill bits. They were all hidden.
They weren't all hidden.
They were hidden in a drawer that didn't make sense.
Oh, you were looking for larger drill bits, or probably than what I have. The drill bits are actually in a container on my bench. They're in a red container.
No, the red container was put away with all the other containers. That one I found, but I needed larger than what was in that one.
Yeah.
So I had to go searching.
Yeah, well, tools are there. They're just not organized yet. They're slowly getting organized.
Slowly but surely.
Eventually, they'll all be organized, making life a lot easier.
I'm totally stealing at least half that second bench.
Yeah.
That way I have a place to put things.
Okay. Well, we'll argue over that later. Need to make room for all the stuff that's on that bench in another spot.
I could glue it to the roof. That'll work, right?
Somehow I don't think it will be very usable glued to the ceiling.
Probably not, but it would be out of the way.
Permanently.
Yes.
Don't want it permanently out of the way.
But then you'll never have to clean it up again.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. Like,
there's not enough roof anyway. There's too many things on the roof.
It's like military painting, man. If it doesn't
military painting?
Yeah, if it doesn't move, paint it. If it moves, paint it. If it moves, paint it again. If it still moves, paint it again.
Okay.
They don't. Growing up as a military brat, watching the military repaint things like ships, hospitals, hallways, buildings, whatever, they don't scrape things off before they paint. They just add another layer of thick paint.
Well, it's one way to do it.
Yeah, it's just another layer of thick paint, and as the saying goes, if it's not moving, paint it. If it moves, paint it again. Let's take this later. Yeah, so that's the way it works in the military.
Cool.
That's why you can, and it happens on most ships too. If you look at most ships, you can actually dig down through the layers of paint that they've painted and you can tell how many times it's been painted.
So you could possibly have rainbow sections.
No, it's always the same color.
Oh, well, that's no fun.
No, it's always the same color. Well, maybe it might go from white to gray, but it doesn't get rainbows. They don't get fancy. No, the military is pretty straightforward. One color. Two colors, black, white, and gray. Actually, three. It has three colors, black, white, and gray. Maybe the shade of gray will vary.
What about green?
I have no idea. This is just what my experience. My experience in it all. As we sit here and wait for anyone to show up and enjoy the pre-stream stuff. I don't have a whole lot for pre-stream. Oh, I do. I solved a few problems. WP Pro host is a couple more problems solved today going forward.
Cool.
It's closer and closer to launching. With a little luck, it's all going to launch this weekend. Everything will be...
That sounds super freaking exciting. As I reach for my e-juice and almost fall over.
Yeah. Launching the WP Pro A-Z hosting site. Yeah, I solved a couple more problems with that this morning, along with what did I do? I did three. I did three websites for PHP 8 conversions this morning.
Nice.
So no, we've now got only 5 on the list. We had 4 more acceptances this last week, so hey, it's all good. We got more PHP 8 conversions or updates to get through this next week.
Yeah, PHP conversion is definitely something that we want to get everyone on board with.
Well, everyone needs to update their WordPress website so that they will convert to PHP 8.
So what happens if you don't end up converting to 8?
Well, what's going to happen with all my clients is all their site, if their sites are lucky, when they're forced into PHP 8, nothing's going to happen. But if they're unlucky, which almost every site so far has had at least one plugin that caused the site to crash. So what'll happen is when I force them, and every other hosting provider is doing the exact same thing, forcing everyone to PHP 8 because PHP 7's been abandoned. It's the same way they forced everyone from PHP 5, 6 to 7.
Yeah.
You know, and what's going to happen is because that can no longer be maintained, and because it's a security risk not only to their website but to the server itself, the hosting companies are removing it and forcing everyone to PHP 8. And it's like, well, your site's broke, fix it. Now it's even harder to fix because you can't revert back to PHP 7 to see what went wrong.
Yeah, that will be hard.
Yeah, because the biggest problem I find right now is you convert to, you jump it forward to PHP 8 just as a test, you get a bunch of errors. Well, you can't get into the back end. You have to go in, you can't get in back end to disable plugins, you know, or figure out if I can just replace this plugin with one that's actually more PHP current. You know, you have to do it the hard way. You have to do it through FTP, which takes a hell of a lot longer than going back and going, oh, well, plugin Z here is, oh, we'll just replace that one with plugin XY, you know?
Yeah, definitely a lot tougher.
So you can,
I guess in those cases, it may end up requiring a complete rebuild, eh?
Some cases, we've had one case right so far that's required almost a complete rebuild. Because it wasn't just the
But
plugins.
that one was still easier than if they were forced up and unable to go backwards.
Yes.
Because we were able to flip back and forth.
We were able to flip back and forth. Flip back and forth between PHP 8 and PHP 7 to, you know, to sort the problems as they go. But if the PHP 7 is no longer available on the server, which is what's going to happen, it's going to be removed from the server completely. And so they won't be able to flip back. They'll just have to plow forward until they figure out all the problems so that it actually loads in PHP 8. And that's a tough job to do.
Yeah, that is going to be rough.
That's a tough job to do. So at any rate, this is what we got going. Lots of interesting, entertaining stuff out there in the world today.
So I lost my e-juice, but I found my jar of water.
I wouldn't put that in your e-smoke.
No, I don't think that'll work.
Water just won't vaporize the same.
No.
It's liable to short circuit your e-juice or your vaporizer.
I could flavor it with berries, though.
Yeah, you could.
No, I'm just picturing the crackly pop and shuddering.
Yes. Or, you know, the minor electrocution from, you know, the battery being wet and zapping you. Yeah, all kinds of fun there.
Well, you know, mild electrocution is apparently okay for you, so. It's only the heavy-duty electrocution that's bad for you.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I wonder how many amps one of these puts out.
I don't know. I haven't actually thought about it.
It's not the voltage that kills you, it's the amperage.
Yes.
I learned that when I was an automotive mechanic. We used to have fun and entertainment. We had one guy in the shop that could stick his finger in a spark plug wire while the car was running. It didn't bother him in the least, and he used to call people over.
Oh, my goodness.
And then he'd zap them.
Man, people like that are just mean.
Yeah. But it's funny. Unless it's you, and then it's not funny.
Yeah.
It's funny to watch him do it to other people.
Especially if he's already got you.
Yeah, well, if once he got you, you knew exactly what he was doing, so you sort of waited for the next sucker to come along. It was usually the new guy. The new guy's the one that always got nailed. Everyone else in the shop knew what was going on.
I wonder what that felt like for him. Didn't bother him, but I wonder if he could feel the current running through him.
He could feel the current running through him. I know I could. Whenever I got nailed by a spark plug wire, I could feel the current running through me, but I couldn't hold myself there. I got zapped by spark plug wires and coils so many times I lost count. It's one of the hazards of being an automotive mechanic.
Yeah.
Especially if the spark plug wire itself has a leak and you happen to be the closest ground
Yeah,
source.
I've done that a couple times with my own spark plugs, because there's a bit of a leak and I have to pull them out and clean them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that's what happens.
It's an interesting zap.
It was interesting. I've still got the design somewhere for an anti-theft system for your car that's based on using a coil and points that it only works in old cars that are made out of metal. It flows the electricity from the coil through the car, and if someone gets within 1 inch of your car, they get zapped.
That would work really well.
Yeah, it won't work on modern cars though, because they're all plastic.
No, you need an old one, like my old truck.
Yeah, like
the ones that are actually made of metal.
The ones that actually have a body made out of metal. Yeah, it was really entertaining. I even built up a test on it for my MGB.
And did it work?
Yeah, so. It wasn't completely 100% accurate, but it was there. But
if it delivered a bit of a jolt, though, it would definitely make someone think twice.
Yeah, make them think twice every time you touch the car. All right, well, enough of that entertainment and fun. Let's get some music and get to showtime.
All right.
Don't claim to know your story, don't even have my own. In the search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Man discovered, passed down from saint to sage, like a kind-hearted lover who's been lost on this stage. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Not saying they're right or wrong. I ain't no Texan dancer, Lord knows where I belong. Went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Junkie and the chigger just seen who done the crime. Captain pulled the trigger, guess who's doing time? They went missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, is he yours or is he mine? Story, don't even have my own. In our search for glory, gone with them sacred rules of old. We're missing down Highway 49. Devil's at the crossroads, sitting doing time. Devil's at a crossroads.
Alrighty, shall we get started?
Absolutely.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is time for WordPress Plugins A to Z, not Z.
It's episode 604, and we have plugins for Finipose, Accounting Woo, PDFing with embedding, and WordPress news, all coming up on WordPress Plugins from A to Z. WordPress. It's the most popular content management and website solution on the internet. And with over 80,000 plugins to choose from, how do you separate the junk from the gems? Join us for a weekly, unrehearsed conversation about the latest and greatest in WordPress plugins. This is WordPress Plugins from A to Z. Well, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be hiding out there on the globe today. Coming to you direct from the brewery overlooking beautiful southern Vancouver Island, where they're brewing up the beer today. Smells lovely out here. Good afternoon, wonderful afternoon, and, I really don't have all that much to say, so...
Thank you for sharing, John. Now get down from that soapbox.
Welcome to episode 604, Pressing the Best Plugins. We've got a couple of great in-depth plugins to cover for you, some recent news in both the WordPress world and the tech world in general, and some awesome WordPress tips. So I don't know about everywhere else, but we've been having a bit of a smoke problem here in our area, because there's a fire. It's kind of sort of nearby, but, BC does tend to catch on fire every single summer. Hoping everyone out there who's dealing with the smoke is keeping healthy, and it looks like it's cleared up quite a bit. So I think the fire is out. I heard that it was going out. Do you know?
I have no idea about the fire that's up in that area, whether it's out or not. Only way to find out for sure is if they've opened the road.
Well, the road is still closed, so obviously it's still going then. But I did hear it's going out, and we do have less smoke, which is good.
Yeah, well, having less smoke means it's getting weaker. A little bit of rain would help. But we don't want rain. We want sun.
So, a couple reminders before we start the show today. Remember that the show starts at 12:30 p.m. Pacific time with the pre-stream starting around 12:15. Pre-stream is where we twiddle with the dials and knobs and really just warm up our voices. Sometimes it's entertaining, sometimes it's a bit boring. Really depends on the day.
Yep.
Our show notes for each episode can be found at wpplugins.a-z.com. The newest show notes will be up within 24 hours and on the front page. And don't forget, this is a value for value show, and you are a big part of its creation. You, our listeners, are our producers, and we need your help to help us produce. So get on out there and hit some like buttons, share an episode or two, and just let people know that you helped to produce the longest running WordPress plugins podcast. And that's it for reminders. So let's get on to this week's featured artist.
Absolutely. Nothing. Go.
This week's featured artist is Jay Salaba. This is an older piece of artwork, which is really cool. I can't tell if that is actually a press or if that's.
It's actually a printing press. It looks like an old school printing press.
It's really cool. I wasn't sure if it was like AI generated kind of thing or what. It looks to be an old Gutenberg press. It looks really cool. I've never seen one up close before, but
I've seen one in a museum. They're not used anymore, but if we lose the internet and all our modern technologies and we want to print stuff, we're going back to this.
Well, imagine the ingenuity that had to go into the creation of such a thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's just amazing.
It is, and what's really hard about them is just laying the letters out.
Yeah,
because you got to do them backwards.
Going through the old art in the art vaults is pretty awesome because we get to go through and see all these things all over again. But it would be great to have some new art. So if anybody out there is feeling like they are interested in sending us some art, you can send it in to us at wpplugins.a-z.com/artwork. You can also check out the art vaults that are there too. Hi, Henry, and good to see ya.
Absolutely.
Please, can everybody be quiet? Please be quiet. Shut up! And now the news with Amber.
All right, so first we have our WordPress vulnerability report for June 21st, 2023. There is a decent list of plugins that have been patched and a list of 55 plugins that have not been patched. The ones I most easily recognize from the unpatched are Flow Forms, Form Builder, Recent Post Slider, WP Backup Manager, that one I've seen kicking around a lot, and WP View. So be sure to check this list out. You will find the link in our show notes. Luckily, there's nothing else going on, just some plugins with vulnerabilities.
Yep. Go check the list, folks, regularly.
They put this out once a week, so you only got to check it once a week to keep on top. Next, we have Block Notes app runs WordPress natively on iOS, now in public beta. So what they're doing is Block Notes is running an experiment, and it's currently being tested. The goal is to prove that the WordPress ecosystem can run anywhere, desktop, mobile, web, even fenced ecosystems. So far, it does seem to be working out pretty well. If you're interested in learning more about it, you can go to the link in our show notes here.
Yeah, there was once a time where I had that much interest where I tried to run it from my phone. Not so much. I don't like looking at the teeny tiny screen.
Yeah, I find it hard to work on tinier screens. I like the larger screens. So next, we have Gutenberg 16.0 introduces page management into the site editor. This is the first step towards a unified experience of editing both content and design. So this is a very exciting thing for Gutenberg users, and hopefully they will continue down this path and make things more unified and possible to do editing on both items at once. So you don't have to keep flipping back and forth.
Cool.
Yeah. Next, we have WordPress.org enables commercial and community filters on plugin and theme directories. So during the State of the Word in 2022, Matt Mullenweg announced that he would be adding community and commercial taxonomies for the theme and plugin directories, which would help users to more quickly ascertain the purpose of the extensions they are considering. After opening it up to the creators to place themselves where they belong, the new filters are now published, and they're doing their job. Oh. Anything with a pro version should be under commercial, and anything totally free should be under community.
That'll be a nice way to sort them all. I did notice one thing. I caught a news item about that was peripherally related to this. It was a plugin developer that was pulling themselves out of supporting the plugin in the forums anymore because they got tired of dealing with idiots. Because they have they also have a pro version, and they got tired of dealing with idiots, and so they just said, well, if you want help, you're going to have to go buy a license.
That works.
And so they put themselves into the commercial version so that people realize it's a commercial plugin and they can't get free help. Because
that, I hope, is actually going to be very helpful for the developers in general.
Yeah, well, it would be useful. The biggest problem a lot of developers have, they put out the pro or the free versions, and even with a free version, people are expecting something for free, and free is exactly what it is. There's no such thing as free. You know, these are developers that put something out because they hope it can help the community, but they don't have time to help you figure out your unique circumstances as to why it's not working. You know, not without getting paid for it. And then when they say, hey, you mind paying us? You know, they're like, oh, no, never mind. We'll figure it out. Like, you know. Yeah. So
if it's free, you're the one who's going to have to fix what you broke.
You fix what you broke. You know, if it's free, you're the product.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just thought that was an interesting piece that might help developers out there get away from all of the troubles of offering support for their free plugins.
That'd be cool. So next we have WordPress contributors discuss renaming Command Center tool. So this is a new feature that was first introduced in version 15.6 and is on track to come out in the next Gutenberg release. Although it may come out under a different name. There is a lively discussion going on about what to name it. Wayfinder seems to be the favorite right now. Personally, I think Central Command Center is a really cool one. I mean, you can even shorten it to like CCC or CCC, and I just think it's kind of cool. I think they should just stick with Central Command Center.
Yeah. Why make things easy when you can make it difficult?
But just for those who have been using it and testing it out and are expecting it to come out as Central Command Center, it's probably going to be called something like Wayfinder.
Go, what?
Yeah.
Gotta wonder where the logic went for all the people who were developing.
So I have one more, and it's my random one for the day. A new metaverse network plots an escape from Meta's walled gardens.
Cool.
Yeah.
The AI is getting out there, getting ready to escape.
Well, actually, it's the company Improbable.
Oh.
Yeah. So Improbable is wanting to open up the borders between virtual worlds alongside a few other companies.
Oh.
But there's other companies like Zuckerberg who really don't want to open up the virtual world. So there's this kind of battle going on between these companies right now on either side of the fence about whether or not to open the walls or keep the walls up.
Tear down the wall. Tear down the wall.
Exactly. Like you tear the walls down and it's kind of like how you can go from site to site to site on the internet. You'll be able to go from world to world to world.
Mm-hmm.
And that would just be amazing. Mind you, we'd probably never be able to get people unplugged, but it would be cool.
Yeah, well, there's that problem too. Well,
and
of course, Zuckerberg doesn't want the wall torn down, man. He wants to keep all the money to himself.
I think I figured out what Zuckerberg is.
He's a cyborg.
He's lawful evil. Because he always stays just inside of the law. So he's lawful evil.
Well, I'd say chaotic evil myself, but okay.
No, he's not chaotic evil. He's lawful evil because he's always just inside the law. See, Musk, he's just freaking chaotic neutral.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Okay, well, start building characters for them all.
That could be fun.
Mm-hmm.
So there are quite a few extras. There's some more WordPress stuff and some random stuff in there. So go and check that out in our show notes.
Absolutely. Especially the one about Elon Musk is going to have his fight with Zuckerberg.
Yep. Chaotic neutral versus lawful evil.
There you go. That'll be an entertaining fight. Off we go. All right. We have plugins for you. First out the gate for you, I have one here. It's called Finpose Accounting for WooCommerce. Now, if you run yourself a WooCommerce site, you know eventually you've got to do yourself some reports. You need reports for your sales. You need reports for your inventory. You need reports for the government so that they can collect that extortion fee from you. So you've got to get these reports. So you got to know all this stuff. And the ones that come built into WooCommerce, frankly, they suck. And they're hard to make use of and hard to use. And there's not a lot of free systems out there for it. I almost ended up buying one just so I could have something that worked. And then I tripped across this one here, the Finpose Accounting, which is a free one. And it gives me all the stuff free. Now, they do have a premium version, but they're free, gives me all the pieces that I needed. In other words, my biggest one was dealing with my taxes, the taxes I collected and have to remit and then knowing how much I've gotten. But they also deal with orders, accounts, inventory, reporting, vendors and dashboard. Although the inventory, reporting, vendors, and dashboard are all in the pro version. But the big ones they give you is your spendings, your tax, your orders, and the accounts on it. So on the whole, very fantastic plugin. It gets down, gives you excellent reports, very readable, exports them out to CSV files so you can use them in, Excel, in Excel or another spreadsheet program. CSV is the standard out there. On the whole, it helps you to be a little bit more productive with your WooCommerce website and spending less time dealing with all the grief and misery that goes into collecting and using all the information that you do collect and how to sort that information in wonderful ways. So go check this one out. For a free version, the free version, fantastic. If I had the pro version, I would definitely give it a 5, but since it's at the free version, I'm giving it a 4 dragon rating, and it's something you will want to go check out. It is called Finpose Accounting for WooCommerce.
That does sound very useful.
It is. It has been very useful for my WooCommerce website for the Oasis. Since I've started selling stuff, I've had to actually start tracking it all.
Just quickly, MDN said, talking about D&D stuff, where are all the D&D stat block plugins? Would love some for 4E.
There used to be some out there, and I guess the D&D players got too old and too bored with the plugins and left. I really have no idea.
Well, I've actually been looking for them, and I've found a few, but they're either really old and don't work, or they're newer and don't do what you think they're going to do.
Yeah, there were some really cool ones back in the day. I remember in the early days, there was a really great one for character generation.
That would be useful.
There's been a lot of really cool D&D plugins over the years, but for the last 5-10 years or more, there's not really been any, because I guess the people who are developing are no longer D&D fans.
I guess not. Oh, well.
You got to remember, it was a completely different industry when the internet started. We were talking real geeks.
Yep.
The people who are in the industry now, most of them, they're not real geeks.
No, they're not. They don't even like comic books or Star Trek. It's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're not even real geeks anymore. They just somebody told them learn the code, so they learned the code, and that's all they did.
Well, if anybody who's listening out there is a true geek and maybe is interested in trying their hand at a plugin, build a D&D one. We missed them. All right, so got some WordPress tips here.
There you go.
Okay, yeah, you have to tell me because I still don't hear it.
I have no idea why. It plays on both channels, but for some reason you don't hear it at all.
Nope. So we would love to hear some tidbits and some tips from our producers out there. What did you figure out by breaking something? Or what did you need to learn in order to help someone unbreak something? If you can think of a few of these things, send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca and we'll add them in here. Excuse me. So, making sites. If you are using something like Elementor that has the option to add universal colors to your site's palette, do so. When I first started, I was forever sampling the colors I needed, saving them into a notepad, and then realized that I can set specific colors as global colors in Elementor and use them for any area I like. Title, font, title or font color, button color, anything that has the option to change a color. If you are using WordPress, it does have global palette available, though I found it was not quite as intuitive as Elementor, especially as a person newer to the scene. But spend some time figuring that out. Add colors to it, because that will make your life a hell of a lot easier.
Yeah, especially make it easier further down the road when you got to change something.
Or say, for instance, you have had to switch computers because the magic smoke escaped, you're working on a new computer, you don't have everything saved into your little thing anymore. Yeah, you want to be able to keep those colors and not have to sample them over and over in order to keep the same color throughout the palettes.
Yep.
And if you don't have the option for a global color palette like in Elementor, a really good backup would be to create a notepad document with the colors for each item labeled for the site you are working on. And this is a really great thing to do to create a backup, send it to somewhere like external hard drive or what have you. Save it somewhere that is more portable, just in case magic smoke escapes and you have to go to a different computer all of a sudden.
Yep.
And I've got some beginner's tips. This is something that I have learned through trial and error, as well as through you teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a client and they are super excited about building a site with you. Only problem, they want you to figure out everything for them.
Yeah, that's about normal.
Yeah. Instead of beating your head against a brick wall and trying to figure out what they like and don't like and finding yourself asking them a million questions, just ask them the following questions. What are you wanting to do with your site? Teach, talk, sell, combination of things? If a combination of things, list them off for me. Do you have a logo set up? Do you see any sites that you would like to base your site off of for the way it looks? The first question will help you figure out which way you need to go for setting it up, which plugins, so on and so forth. Second question will give you your color palette. The third question will tell you what they like the look of and what style to aim for. If they don't have a logo, you can help guide them in the right direction and figure out what the palette will be. But generally, people have a logo already. I've found.
Yeah, most people do. If they don't have a logo, make sure you know someone who designs logos. I quit doing that.
So the biggest thing that I've learned so far is that simple is hard.
Simple is very hard.
But learning to do simple equals working smarter, not harder.
Yep.
So it doesn't seem like much, but it really is some really good stuff to think about there.
Yep.
Now for my plugin.
Absolutely.
So I brought forward PDF Embedder. I've used this one before.
You didn't hear that either, did you?
Pardon?
You didn't hear that either, did you?
Nope.
Yeah, you ended up talking over it partway through. Let's go ahead and start that over again because you were talking while the thing was playing.
How about you play the sound again? Tell me when it's done.
Okay. Go.
Okay. So PDF Embedder. I used this plugin a while ago when I was first starting, and this plugin I've found is still the best option for something simple for clients who just want to put up a PDF, something like maybe a coloring book, and they want people to be able to download it and have it. It's really easy and simple if you already have a PDF you want to get up there. Once installed and activated, you will see the settings option under settings in your left-hand menu, then PDF Embedder. This is a freemium plugin, so there's a premium version, but the free version gives you a scrolling bar, the option to choose whether or not the scrolling bar stays visible or is only visible when hovering. And you are able to right-click, save the picture as. So long as the users are aware of the right-click trick, they can save whatever you are showing. You are also able to size the PDF file via pixels, kind of like when you're sizing a photo. And you are able to choose whether is on the top, bottom, or both. They also give you an option to display powered by wp-pdf.com, which if you're using their free version, why not? Little throwback for them. If you're not sure what size you want, you can look up the best size for various items in WordPress, or you can simply dive in and make it up as you go until you figure out the right sizing on your own. For premium versions, there are 3 for 1 site, for 2 to 5 sites, and unlimited sites. And their prices are actually really decent. It ranges from $20 to $50. It's not crazy expensive. And with the premium version, you get the following. A download button that is provided by PDF Embedder so that people can go there. They see the download button, they can click it, and it downloads the whole thing for them. External links, open links in a new browser tab window. Track views, downloads, count number of views and downloads. And continuous page scrolling that allows users to scroll up and down between all pages in the PDF. So essentially, you get the premium version, you get the really fancy stuff, but they don't make it way out there and impossible to afford either. So it's really cool. And having seen this in action a few times now, I would highly recommend getting the premium version. It's affordable, and so long as you have something that you want to share with the world, be it a picture, letter, or coloring book, this plugin works really well. They keep it updated, it plays well with others. It has worked on sites that other plugins that do this don't really work because the site is a little unique. So it does also work with Gutenberg, works with Elementor, works with just about everything I've tried it with so far. I have yet to see something this plugin does not work with. And yeah, so it's a good one. I give it a 5 dragon rating.
I actually have a license for this plugin, and I use it regularly. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
I bought it years ago. When the main reason for it is it also helps you secure your PDFs on your site so people can't download them.
Perfect.
So that's one of the reasons for going to the premium. I went to the premium so people could display their PDFs in a more secure fashion. Now, people can always screenshot stuff. You can't stop that, but you can prevent them from downloading a document. So
that's definitely useful.
So it's a very useful plugin. It's a great plugin. I've been using it for years. So yeah, it's worthy of a 5. Even at the free. All right. We need to do this.
It's time to donate to WP Plugins A-Z.
I really like that jingle. So we have 3 levels of producers that help us to keep the show's larder stocked to the bursting. We have our freelance producers, backroom producers, and war room producers. There are special perks for backroom and war room producers that you can learn about on our site, WPPluginsA-Z.com. Click on Time, Treasure, or Talent donations in our main menu and learn all the nitty-gritty details and how you can add your 2 cents. We also have that information here in our show notes under Earn Yourself a Producership Credit. And you can join in and be part of your own production and support the show at the same time. There are a lot of ways you can do that. Simply getting out there and hitting the like button and sharing our link to some people will help us a lot. And there are plenty of ways that you can come in and donate. You can find that information on our site as well as in our show notes. We have some miscellaneous announcements from both us and our producers. If anybody out there has an announcement like a meetup or that they'll be on stage at the next WordCamp, send it in to me at amber@wppro.ca and we'll get it on here so we can tell the world for you. If you're interested in finding a WordPress meetup somewhere around the world, you can check it out at meetup.com/pro/WordPress. Next WordPress Victoria meetup will be July 1st. It happens every month around the 1st, so you can go and check that out. And there is only one WordCamp happening in July, which I was surprised. I thought they would have added a few more.
Yeah, everyone's on vacation.
Could be it. Hemdian said producers, and the peanut gallery.
You betcha.
Gotta have a peanut gallery, man. I do agree. We need more peanuts. So it hasn't really changed, this little section. Would love to hear something from our producers out there. Give us something to add in here. Make it more interesting.
Absolutely.
You can reach us through a real brick and mortar address if you so desire, or send things in to us just to say hi. That's always nice. And we have some virtual addresses, all of which you can find in our show notes under how to reach us. Today's plugins we covered were...
I covered up the Finpose, Accounting for WooCommerce by Finpose. Allows you to be a bit more productive, spend less time on the mundane financial tasks. Manage your taxes, your accounts, sales, all of that great stuff. And monitor your actions on everything. It'll also monitor your inventory inputs and outputs too, now that I remember. At any rate, great plugin. Go check it out. I gave it a 4 Dragon rating.
And I covered PDF Embedder by WP PDF Embedder Team. You can embed any PDF you want, ability for users to save PDF in free version, and premium version has many options, including download here button. I rated this at 5 dragons.
It's question and answer time with John and Amber.
That one I hear.
Yes. Well, now you can get started.
So if anyone out there has any questions they'd like to have asked here on the show in the Q&A section, you can send them in to me at amber@wppro.ca, and we'll see if we can stump my dad. So my first question for you is, for those who are facing updating their site for PHP update and have realized that their sites aren't actually working out the way they thought they would, is closing it down a good idea?
You mean that they're not getting the traffic or the revenue from the site like they thought?
Yeah.
Yeah, they may as well close it down. Why continue to spend money?
Okay.
You know,
and then
what's the point in continuing to spend money?
And then if they close down the site, should they keep a copy of it for themselves?
Yeah, you can keep a copy. You'll never use it, but you can keep a copy anyway. I've got copies of stuff. Oh, I'll need this one day, and I trip across it 6 years later and go, you know, I should get rid of that. Nah, well, it's like throwing out old things in your house. It's like you don't touch it for years, and when you decide to clean it out, for some reason, it suddenly has emotional attachment to you, and you can't get rid of it. So,
or like trying to get rid of cords.
Yes, like trying to get rid
Everybody
of cords.
has a cord box.
Yes, everyone has a cord box. Problem is those cord boxes come in handy as hell. I've dived into my cord box more times than I can count, looking for a cord that I broke or an old one or something else.
Hemdian actually asked a question. Why is it brick and mortar addresses? Shouldn't it be plywood and tar paper addresses?
Well, it depends on the address. You know, if you're in an old building, it might actually be made of brick and mortar, or at least have a facade of brick and mortar. You know,
most of the places on this island at least have a facade of it.
They have a facade of brick and mortar. Although yeah. I think where our brick and mortar address is he's right. It's tar paper and plywood and stucco.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good question though. Where did that saying come from? Brick and mortar.
Because all buildings used to be made out of brick and mortar.
They didn't have wood?
Well, they did, but cities were made more brick and mortar. You can see it in old downtown cores that haven't been gutted and turned into high rises.
Okay.
You know, you can see the old brick and mortars there. In fact, you know, some of the
there's that old pizza place in Victoria. That one's all brick.
Yeah, there's a lot of old brick and mortar still kicking around. Not as much as there used to be because they tear it down and then they replace it with plywood and tar paper. All right, well, I guess that's everything there. All right, we're going to close it out here. And for those listening on the downloads, you want to go check out the YouTube channel so you can catch the extra questions at the end. And we'll let our girl take us on out.
Reminders for the show. All show notes can be found at wppluginsa-z.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the newsletter for more useful information delivered directly to your inbox. WP Plugins A-Z is a show that offers honest and unbiased reviews of plugins created by developers because you support the show. Help keep the show honest and unbiased by going to wppluginsa-z.com/donate and set the donation level that fits your budget. Help us make the show better for you by subscribing and reviewing the show at Stitcher Radio, Google Play, and in the iTunes Store. You can also leave us a review on our Facebook page using wppluginsa-z.com/Facebook. You can also watch the show live on YouTube, check out the screencasts and training videos, and remember to subscribe and hit the bell to get notifications of all new videos. Follow the show on Twitter at WPPluginsA-Z. John can also be reached at his website, johnoverall.com, or email him directly, john@wppro.ca. Thanks for joining us and have a great day.
Thanks for listening to the show. This show is copyright by johnoverall.com. So until next time, have yourselves a good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you happen to be out there on the globe today.
All right.
Nice one, Hemdian. Almost burst out laughing there in the middle of the extra.
Yep. When the big one hits, you'll be able to say virtual addresses and rubble addresses.
Yes.
So
let's get ready to rubbleize. I don't think I have that one.
So the next question I have here is along the same lines. If they close down their site and their term isn't up, should they be asking for a refund?
They can ask for a refund, but their chances of getting one are slim to none. Most hosting companies don't refund your advance payments.
Okay.
You know,
and would you recommend that they retain their domain or toss it since they closed down the site?
I would keep the domain. Domain costs you about $12-15 a year. You never know when you might find it useful again for some other project that you've got coming along. I usually go a couple, 3 years of not using a domain before I realize, I'm never going to use this, and then I'll turf it out. Because once you turf a domain, getting it back, if you decide you want it back, can be a real challenge.
Depends on the T's and C's. What does that mean?
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Okay.
Terms and conditions.
Oh, okay.
I just looked over and saw Hemdian's question. Depends on the terms and conditions. Yeah, it's in the terms and conditions of the hosting company. Many hosting companies won't give you a refund. Some of them will give you a pro rata refund, but it varies from hosting company to hosting company, and nobody reads terms and conditions anymore.
No, they really don't.
They don't. You could put a line in there that say I'll give you $20,000 to anyone who catches this and reads it back to me and blah blah blah, and you'll get no claimers on it. Because nobody reads those things anymore. I still read them occasionally, but they are really hard to read.
They are really hard to read through.
They've gotten harder and harder as the years have gone by too.
Massive legalese.
Yeah. Yeah, you think lawyers still get paid by the word.
What, they don't anymore?
No, they get paid by the hour, which equates to being paid by the word. But
yeah, it does.
Because, it takes hours to write this shit, so. But lawyers used to get paid by the word.
That does explain a lot. A couple more questions that are connected here. Can you get a refund for the rest of the year when you get rid of a domain name? And can you sell your domain name? Is that something that's worth looking into? You don't get, if you cancel a domain, you get no refund, period. Okay.
Yes, you can sell your domain. You can put your domain up for sale. I've sold domains, and I think my highest domain I ever got was $3,600 for a domain. Okay. If you got a good domain, one that's valuable in its thing, because you got to remember, there's only one of that domain in existence. It is not duplicated. Like if you have a .com, which is the premium domain, is .com, and if you have that domain and you have a very unique one that is highly valuable, you can sell it and make hundreds, thousands. Well, some of them is sold for millions.
Cool.
Can't remember what sex.com sold for. It was ridiculously high.
Well, then, yeah, it would be worth looking into if you have a unique address. That's good to know.
It's if you have a unique address. If you have something that's unique to you, no, it's not worth anything. And then what happens, the biggest thing that happens with domains when people abandon them is you have the snipers out there that snag them up. And then what they do is they throw up a quick website full of advertising to collect all your residual traffic to your website for a while.
Yeah, that's an issue.
Yeah. And there's also the ones that throw up a website full of spam and malware to target people and collect off of your residual traffic. Because if you've had a domain for years, it's still got traffic coming to it. And when you take down the website, and if you cancel the domain, it'll still continue to, people, robots, whatever, will continue to hit that website for a while after it's dead, even if nothing's there. And the spammers and the advertisers have figured out that, hey, I can snag this domain that's X number of years old, man. It's got residual traffic. I can make a few bucks off it. I'll make way more than it cost me to register the domain. Because they've got templated sites. They just go snap, and 10 minutes later, there's a website there with all the stuff on it that they want.
Yep.
So I've seen that happen, but yeah, no, keep your domain. It's worthwhile to keep it I'd keep it for a couple, 3 years before you turf it out completely. Once you're 100% certain you're never going to use it again. Now, the other thing is, do you get email at your domain? If you get email at your domain, you got to keep it hosted somewhere. There's no
Sounds like I lost you there. Are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still here. Didn't you hear that?
No.
I said, do you get email at your domain?
Yeah, that would be an important one to consider, because if you get email, then you don't want to get rid of your domain.
Yeah, you got to not just get rid of it. You got to keep it hosted somewhere.
Yeah.
Because if you don't keep it hosted somewhere, you won't get your emails.
Definitely something to consider.
So there's a few considerations with it for a domain. I mean, I've got a couple of old domains that no website attached to them, nothing, but I still get emails at them. So I just keep them for the email address.
That makes sense.
And route it through one of my other accounts. I always want to go and do things like that along the way. All right, well, I think that wraps us up. That covers up pretty much everything we've got.
It does
We
indeed.
appreciate it. Thanks for showing up, Hemdian.
You're always fun to have on the show, Hemdian. Thanks for being here.
Yep, always lots of fun. A little bit of music, carry us on out of here, and we'll call it a day.
These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. A quarter after midnight, and I'm watching the wall. Sometimes I feel so uptight, I just can't sleep at all. Every day doing the same old thing, we're losing time. The weekend comes, we gotta have some fun and rewind. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. I feel the rope tightening, choking off our air. We need to grab some lightning. Friday's almost here. Caught in a web, we need to cut this thread we're hanging by. Where is it said you have to be half dead to survive? These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder. We're gonna make time stand still. We gotta feel the hunger, hanging over the edge just to taste the thrill. These are the days of thunder.
Alrighty, folks. That's all we've got for you now. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Glitch, glitch, glitch.